Listen to me carefully, not later, not ever, but now, because many will learn what I'm about to say too late. You can monitor your heart as much as you want, take pills, know your blood pressure by heart, and still end up in the hospital or not get up one morning, and not because your heart has failed you, but because you've been ignoring your legs for years. Yes, your legs, and if irritation or mistrust has arisen inside, it's a good sign. It means the topic is spot on. I've been seeing the same picture for decades. A person lives carefully, tries hard, considers themselves sensible and cautious. Their heart is under control, their tests are done, they visit doctors, and meanwhile, their legs quietly, without noise, without pain, begin to switch off, not right away. At first, just walk less, then step more carefully. Then I'd rather sit, and at some point the body stops helping the heart because the heart can't work alone. It needs a push from below, movement, the work of the muscles. When this is lacking, the blood stagnates, metabolism slows, the vessels slack, and you feel tired and attribute it to age. And here begins the most dangerous lie that adults believe: it's normal, I'm not 20 anymore. I'll say it harshly but honestly. Age itself doesn't kill, it's immobility, and it almost always begins with the feet, with the fact that a person stops walking the way they used to, not because they can't, but because they're saving themselves, they're saving their knees, saving their back, saving their strength, and ultimately they're saving their way to the hospital bed. At this point, the heart still holds on, tries, compensates, but when there is no support from below, it begins to wear out and eventually, truly, it can't take it anymore, and everyone says, well, my heart, although the truth is deeper and more unpleasant. I want to literally shake you up right now, because if you're sitting and thinking, this isn't about me, I can still walk, you're the one at risk. It all starts long before the cane, long before the falls, long before any real diagnoses. It all starts with the legs ceasing to be active participants in life and becoming simply a support for sitting, and the person doesn't even notice it. They simply get out less, move less, feel less in their body, and along with this, the resilience of the entire body decreases. I'm not scaring you, I'm warning you, because there are things that can be reversed. There are moments where it's enough to understand the connection in time, and the outcome will be different. And in the end, I will definitely tell you about the most important signal that the legs give when the body is already on the brink. Almost no one takes it seriously, and it is after this point that the risk of sudden problems increases sharply. If you recognize this moment in time, you can preserve not only mobility, but also your life. If what you hear now resonates with you and you feel that the conversation is on point, support this video and like it. It helps topics like these reach those who still can make a difference, and subscribe if you want to hear not just generalities, but a calm, honest conversation from a doctor with extensive experience. Now let's move on, logically and without unnecessary emotions. To understand why legs give out earlier than the heart, let's analyze one mechanism that is rarely discussed, even though it underlies most age-related problems. It is from this mechanism that the chain begins, which either leads to collapse or unfolds towards life. Then listen further, because now we are approaching the point where a quiet but dangerous substitution of concepts occurs in most people's minds. People think that legs give out because of the joints, because of the bones, because of age. In fact, in the overwhelming majority of cases, it is not the bones or joints that fail first, but the blood circulation and nerve connection, and this happens much earlier. Then serious pain appears. That is precisely why this moment is so often missed. When a person is young, they move automatically, without thinking. The leg steps, the blood flows, the muscles contract, the vessels respond, the brain receives a signal, the body is alive, active, resilient. With age, this system begins to work more quietly. It does not break down immediately, quieter indeed. The muscles of the calf and foot become weaker, the stride shortens, they lose confidence in their movements, and here comes the key moment. Blood stops fully returning from the legs to the heart, subtly, undramatically, gradually, so gradually that the person gets used to this state and considers it normal. Meanwhile, the heart is forced to work under constant resistance. It has to pump blood through vessels where movement is slower. Congestion occurs, especially in the lower body. Tissues receive less oxygen, metabolic waste is less efficiently removed, and the legs feel heavy, full, cold, sometimes tingling or numbness. And here the second mistake is made. The person begins to move less because movement has become unpleasant. A cycle that no one breaks for years. I've seen this hundreds of times. the person says, "Doctor, I'm starting to tire more easily," but in fact he wasn't tired, he had forgotten how to fully engage his legs, he stopped putting weight on. Rotating the body, what it has lost quietly and imperceptibly. The method I'm about to describe is so simple that it is often devalued and in vain. It is precisely its simplicity that makes it safe and effective for mature age. The key is not exercise or training. The key is daily engagement of the foot. The foot is the place where the body meets the ground. When it works correctly, the brain receives a clear signal, there is support, it is possible to move, it is possible to live an active life. When the foot is disengaged, the step becomes careful, the leg muscles do not work fully, blood flow slows, and all this happens even in those who think they walk normally. I have been observing one pattern for many years. People whose feet begin to feel cold, whose sensitivity in their feet decreases, whose gait becomes slapping or unsteady, almost always experience the same problems later. Pressure, shortness of breath, weakness, falls, because the foot is no small thing. It is the control panel for the entire body. A huge volume of nerve signals passes through it, and it is the foot that activates the muscle pump in the legs. You need to start not with strength, but with sensitivity. The most important thing is to regain a sense of support. Tomorrow, immediately find 5-7 minutes, stand barefoot or in soft shoes, feel how your foot touches the floor, slowly shift your weight from your heel to your toe without jerking or straining. Don't do this as an exercise, do it as a conversation with your body. If at this moment you feel warmth, a slight tingling, even weakness, that's normal. This means that areas that have been dormant for a long time begin to awaken. After a few days of this practice, many notice an amazing thing. Their legs become alive, their steps are more confident, the constant tension in the body disappears, and most importantly, that feeling of hidden unsteadiness that makes a person fear movement disappears. And when the fear goes away, movement returns, and with it, support for the heart returns. It's important to understand that this isn't a quick effect. It's not just do it and it's gone. It's a restoration of connection. If you give yourself at least a week, you'll already feel the difference. And if you make this a habit, your body will thank you by stopping falling apart. But there's another point that is absolutely necessary to consider. For some people, their legs switch off not only because of weak feet, but because of one common mistake in everyday life. It seems harmless, but it accelerates the aging of the legs and dramatically increases the risk of problems. It's rarely talked about, but it often negates all efforts if it's not addressed. I'll talk about this mistake now, frankly, without mincing words, because it occurs in almost every second adult, and yet it's considered self-care. We're talking about constant foot care when a person lives in a mode that avoids straining them. Shoes without footwork, minimal walking, the elevator instead of the stairs. I'll sit so as not to get tired. I won't walk in case it hurts my knee. Better to lie down. From the outside, it looks reasonable. Inside, it's a slow shutdown of the system. The body is rigidly structured, but fairly, it shuts down what it doesn't use. Not out of spite, but to save money. If the legs don't receive a regular signal that you are needed, the body stops investing in their nutrition, blood supply, and nervous support. Blood vessels constrict, muscles weaken, sensitivity decreases. And the most dangerous thing is that a person gets used to this condition and begins to consider it normal. They sincerely think they are taking care of themselves when in fact they are depriving the heart of its main helper. I often hear, "Doctor, I deliberately walk less so as not to overload my heart," and every time I have to explain the same thing. The heart is overloaded not by movement but by its lack. When the legs are not working, blood stagnates below, blood pressure spikes, and the heart is forced to push against resistance. It's like driving a car with the handbrake on and thinking it's safer. It runs for a while, then it breaks down. This mistake is especially insidious because it disguises itself as comfort, soft, warm, and comfortable, yet the foot doesn't work, the lower leg doesn't engage, and the stride becomes passive. The person seems to walk, but the body isn't receiving the necessary signal, and then suddenly fatigue, heaviness, shortness of breath, anxiety appear, and more pills, examinations, and tests. Although the root cause all this time was that the legs were living in standby mode, not participating. Correcting this doesn't require a feat. It requires awareness. Start noticing how you stand, how you walk, how you lean on the earth. Choose not maximum comfort, but gentle and reasonable activity. Not through pain, not to the point of wear and tear, but regularly. Because regularity is more important for a mature body than strength. There is a simple reference point by which you can understand that you are moving in the right direction. After movement, your legs should not feel dead but warm, your breathing should be even, your body should feel steady, not tired. If this is the case, it means you're helping yourself, not hurting yourself. This is how that inner support we talked about earlier gradually returns, and when this support appears, it stops being an enemy and becomes an ally, and the heart, despite fears, begins to work more calmly, not harder. Take care of yourself properly, not by abstaining from movement but through reasonable, vibrant activity. This is true care for an age that can still be fulfilling, stable, and dignified.